largest PTA meeting I've ever been to in my entire life. But thank you for doing that. So my name is Jory Galvez, and I'm the president of the PTO. And so the first thing that we will do is we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, but there's no flag in here, so the flag is out that way, so we'll just face that way. So if you guys don't mind joining me, and then we will begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Also, we are recording this too. I'm going to put it on YouTube, so parents that aren't here, if they want to watch it, they are more than welcome to. So we have that, just to let you know. And first thing we will do is approve the agenda. So when we approve the agenda, this means that there are no changes or additions going forward. We're not going to go out of order in the agenda. So that is the first thing that I would like to do. Is there a motion to vote on the agenda? Motion? Okay. Okay, is there a second? Okay, second. All right, the agenda is approved going forward. Thank you. All right, the first thing we're going to do, since this is our inaugural year here with the PTO at the Academies of Loudoun, is approve the bylaws. For those of you who have an account on PT Board, this was sent out electronically to you. If you read it, fabulous. We all went through it this summer, and there were definitely some changes that we made to it. But if there are there any questions on it that people may have? I only made a few copies because, again, it's really not that exciting. But anyway, it's just a bunch of rules that we just need to abide by as we go through, so we can make this make our group as straightforward as possible. Are there any questions of anybody who read? Yes.
What changes did you guys make?
Okay, so there's summary. So what we did, so this originally, when they were forming the Academies of Loudoun PTO, which it was formed off of, because MATA didn't have a PTO, and AET had a PTO, and then AOS had one, but it was separate from however they had kind of sanctioned their PTO. So this went off of these are the PTO bylaws that were off of PTO today. And so to be honest with you, my background is in PTA, and PTAs have very strong bylaws, and because they come down from the national level. So a lot of what the verbiage that we did change in some things in here is from, if you do read it, you'll notice it's from a PTA background. There were just some things of how many days that if people had to, there was a change, say, to the budget, or if there was a change or if there was something for nominations, which that will come up in the spring for next year's board, how many days ahead of time that needs to be presented. So, and there were some things about signage of checks. Originally with PTOs, I'm not sure how many of you I won't go into a long spiel on it, but PTOs and PTAs are very different because a PTA is an association, and you are accountable to a state level, and then you're accountable to a national level. PTOs are on an island by themselves. So with a PTO, there were some things that sometimes principals are signers on checks, and that is not something, and Dr. Pretty agreed, that did not want to be a signer on the check, because our bank account is separate from the school's bank account. So there was some of that verbiage in there that we just wanted to make clear as to how our organization was going to run versus what PTO today has for a template. Okay. Nothing earth-shattering, but just some things to get us in line a little bit better. Is there any other questions? Okay. So without further ado on that, we're going to need a 2/3 vote, so PTO members. So for everybody who's a PTO member, if you aren't a member, please don't raise your hands on this, but hey, Nikki and Shannon, do you have a count as to how many members we have?
Yes, we have.
Or counts today?
Excluding the folks that just signed up tonight, we've got 202 family members, and that may be that there are multiple children in the program. And we have 30 of the staff here at the Academies of Loudoun.
How many are here today? Did you check in?
No, I don't have
that. Just doing that number right now. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. If you can just give us 5 minutes for okay. 5 minutes. I can't tell jokes. So, okay. I don't want to move forward yet because I need to approve, because the budget's going to be based on that also. I'll look at the bylaws here and see if there was anything else of great importance that we changed. On the bylaws. I'm just looking.
I think we changed that anything that expense above 500, you need a general membership like vote.
So one of the thank you. So one of the things that we did put in here was that on the budget, once the budget's approved tonight, that any changes that will be made on the budget, anything that's $500 or more on that budget that needs to be changed, will need to be voted on by the membership. So the board can, if one of our events or such needed an extra $200, we can just approve that amongst ourselves. But if they needed $501, we would need the membership to approve that. So that's one of the things that we did put in here. One of the other things that wasn't in here that is important to me is having an audit done at the end of the year. So the audit will be done in June, after kind of our fiscal year basically runs July 1st through June 30th. And so after checks and we've paid out and all that, we will have we'll be asking for an audit committee just to come in and go through our books just to make sure that everything was on the up and up. Because unfortunately there is fraud, and it's happened in our area where people on PTAs have taken money. And so it's important, that was an important committee for us to have as part of our group, especially as large of a school that we now have. That was important.
A couple of other items that were changed is the officers in the elections, because previously the board was set up in a different format. This year it's set up with a president, 3 chairs representing each of the individual schools, the treasurer and the secretary. So that was restated in there where it wasn't previously. And also a nominations committee and process was added for future elections, as the one from this past year was not done in that format. So those were things put in place since it's now a growing organization, and so those couple items were addressed in the new bylaws.
Yeah. We'll just have there'll be one vote in May at our May meeting versus having how it was this past year where it was 2 nights. So we'll be doing that in our May meeting. There'll be elections.
I'm sorry, could you just introduce yourself so we know?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so sorry about that. My name is Jory Galvez, and I'm president of the PTO. I have a daughter here who's a freshman in AET, and this is my first time, honestly, being with the PTO. I have an extensive background at the local and the state level with the PTA, but so this is why with how the PTO is kind of being fashioned after that.
Yeah, I'm Lakshmi Mittal. I'm the chair for the MATTER. So, and my daughter is here in MATTER in grade 10. So I'm here because she wanted me to be there and look after everything what is going on. It's a new institution, and just to protect the interest and coordinate more and more between the teacher and parents, so we can get more and more from the program. So that's the objective. And you can feel free to reach me anytime if you have any question or you just want to come up with something to be done. So I'm always there. So my email ID is there on the website, so you can write me an email.
So I'm Tara Fan, and now this is my 2nd year with the PTO. Last year I was treasurer with the AET. Actually, we were the academies of Loudon PTO from the beginning, and we found it from the beginning. My son is in 11th grade at AET in engineering, and I'm here because I wanted to help. I'm a CPA licensed in Virginia, and I think that I can help set it up PTO and help with the treasury service to our organization. Thank you.
And my name is Jennifer Romps. I am the AET chair. I have an 11th grade son who is in the engineering track. I was involved in the PTO last year, which was with AET, in called the Student Appreciation Committee. This year we're calling it the Student Community. So when we get to talking about overseeing the budget, you'll see things that fall under student community. The purpose of that area is really to make all the kids here start to feel like one community, because they're all coming from across the entire county and they only see each other every other day. So last year, the last 2 years, one of our big focuses was really trying to get them to feel as part of a community. And again, that's one of the roles of the PTO, and so we look forward to having that as one of the roles again this year. Again, I'm with AET, but happy to talk with anyone moving forward.
My name is Srinivas Ramgandhi, and I'm the AOS chair. My son is in freshman this year, and basically we looked at all the AOS traditions and events, and had a discussion in the group that applies to as a ACL Academics of Love in School. And if you have any ideas or questions about what events we are heading forward, please reach out to me and we'll discuss. Thank you.
This was our next plan of the agenda to introduce, but we bring it up on here, and now we can go ahead with all the programs.
And then we do have a secretary also. Her name is Pramila. Did you guys just say?
Yeah.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, she couldn't make it tonight, but she will be here next time. So, okay, so we have 24 members here tonight, which is awesome, and we just need a 2/3 vote on to pass the bylaws for the year. So we need to. I have verbiage here. Okay. So now I'm going to make a motion to vote on the proposed bylaws. Is there a second on that? Second on that. Thank you. And then now we're going to vote by the show of hands to approve the bylaws. Can you count for me, Nikki? Can you count for me? You got more than 16? Well, you got more than 16? Yes. We're good. Okay, all right. 24. Okay, all right, awesome. Okay, so thank you. So with that, the bylaws have been approved for the year. So, okay. Next, we are going to vote on the budget for the 2018-19 year. This was sent out, again, via PT board. We tried to send it out to the whole school because people who are on PT board, and I'll explain that here in a second. But people who are on PT board, it's not the entire school because we are not allowed to have all of the names of everyone, all the parents who are here at the school. So there are a number of things you may get duplicates of because if there are things that are needed and important enough, I will send them out through Dr. Pretty and then she will send them to the entire school. So that's why you may see some duplicates on things. But the people on PT board, because we have 414 users right now, which is great on PT board. But when you look at it as a school as a whole, if there are 1,500 kids here, we don't know yet exactly how many families that is in terms of, because there are some families that do have 2 children here. But even if you do have, even if there are 1,300, say, families here, we still, it is a low number still on how many people are hooked in to getting the knowledge of what is going on here with the PTO, etc. So that is why you're getting the 2 bits of information there. So go ahead, Tara.
Okay. So the 2018 and 2019 is ACL PTO budget has been presented. So you should have received it through email, and we printed out some copies here. Before we vote, do you have any questions? Yes.
I had a question
is taking that over.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is the sales is actual? It's actually actual number because we actually sold the inventory from last year. Yeah. So.
Yes.
Could you explain just the items in student community? I'm sorry, I didn't get the email, so I don't
Okay.
know what these are.
Okay. So do you want me to go ahead and explain that?
Yes.
Okay. So under student community, so and this is going to go once now that this budget does get approved, then we can send out the email to kind of more explain what some of these events are, because we'll need chairs and some committee people for them. But the idea behind this is a fall festival, is that to, as Jennifer alluded to earlier, is just to kind of make this more of a community feel with the school, is that we would have some tables in the front hallways, and we would have, depending on what that committee is looking at, they obviously have a budget of $2,000, but there would be, for example, this isn't set in stone, maybe donuts there, maybe apple cider, maybe apples, maybe granola bars, this type of thing, so that as the kids come in for the school day, we'll do it on an A and B day, and they are welcomed in, they can take a snack, and then they can go to their class, and so that's what we're doing that's what our fall festival is. It's not a carnival by any means. Yes?
Yeah, considering just a suggestion with the spirit where, depending on how it is made, we now have the decal cutters in the basement. And so what I was thinking is that at Tuscarora, how they made the spirit wear for the math team, is they actually took the decal cutter and there's this basically hot press that you can press the decals onto the shirts. So decals can be made originally in a big group at the school, and depending on how it all works out, it might be cheaper to make them and get a project.
We appreciate that, but we as a PTO are not part of the Spirit Wear anymore, so it's the school. So the Entrepreneurship program from AET is taking that over. So I would suggest that you contact whoever that might be with that program, like Mr. Lewis maybe, who's the director there. So thank you though, I appreciate that. So the Fall Festival, so does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Next, Pi Day. So this is one of the traditions that we've been trying to carry over from a couple of the different schools have had this. So this is going to look different, and because we're coming together as 3 schools to have 1,500 kids here, as opposed to having AOS had their Pi Day and AET had their Pi Day. So it's Pi Day. So 3.14, blah, 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 in March. So I'm sorry if I didn't mean to offend anybody with that, but this is my child is smart because of my husband, not because of me in that way of thinking. But so it's a big deal for these kids. So we would do it on March 14th and probably March 15th, because again we are having A and B day, and we don't exactly know what that looks like yet. It is our biggest funded event, $2,500. Doubtful we'll be able to serve 800 kids within 45 minutes for lunch with pie. There were a couple of suggestions potentially, because you would need, if you do the math, of 8 slices of pie, you'd need 100 pies, and then you're having all these volunteers trying to serve this. It could look different. We may do something of trying to get some of the admin or some teachers who are willing to take a pie in the face. There may be something of where we give the kids, maybe there's something, and this is again just not set in stone, just some ideas. Kids are big with these stickers now putting on their water bottles. I see like Pi Day 2019 or keychain or something that we can afford in that way. Again, not set in stone, but we need to rework it as to what it looks like, but we do want to still have it in some way. Like again, we know that pie game is out there. Who knows? We bring the pie game in and the kids can play a pie game. Something along those lines. But we will have the committees, the chair and committee lists will be going out via PT board, and then people will be able to sign up there to be on those committees, and then we will go from there with direction on that. So that's what Pi Day is. The end of year social. We don't have, in the past, this has been something where, Jennifer, do you want to allude to what this has been in the past?
Well, sure. So we are waiting, and won't find out exactly what the school will plan on doing the last 2 days of school until much later in the year. And once we have a better idea of what they're planning on doing, then we have a budget to add on to it. That can take many different formats. And again, we have to see what it is the school's going to do and what they're looking for us to support them in. But examples of what have been done in the past, both at AET and at AOS, and unfortunately I don't know what was done at NATA before, but at AET and at AOS there have been, over the years, there's either been an ice cream sundae bar social, or there have been popsicles given out, or assorted novelty ice cream bars, some type of celebratory treat to go along with whatever the school has planned for those last 2 days. And each school has done something different each year, so we don't have those particulars, but it is so that we can somehow have the kids have a celebration of some sort. So we've set aside money to make that happen once further details come from the school.
Thank you. And then the next is the AOS AET MATA events. This was again put aside as this is new, for us, and so we wanted to have something set aside already in the budget. That, for instance, the first week of October on the 4th is the coding ceremony for AOS. We had put aside some money in case we were asked to potentially do a reception for that. We know Claude Moore is involved with that. There's also the coding ceremony for MATA earlier in the week. And this was talking through with Dr. Pretty as to what this may look like, but the school does not have their calendar 100% set and some of the things that they need, but we wanted to have some funds available in case we needed to help support them. So that's what that is. And then the new student reception will be for those students who were then new, accepted for the freshman class of, I guess it would be 2023, and that would probably happen in April to welcome those families in to the school. And then our subtotal for what we have right now is $7,200 going towards the students for student community. So did that answer some questions? Yes, ma'am.
I have another question. So what is the PTO doing for fundraising now that we're not going to do any of the spirit fair? So we just have the $25 as people doing or anything. Is there any plans to raise funds?
Yeah. So, one of the things, and we'll see this at the top for those who have this under revenues, a big chunk of this, which is great, which is why we've had a big push, and some people are like, okay, stop sending the emails already about membership, but this is why membership is so important, is because that is more or less the backbone of our funding for the PTA in order to be able to do these things for the students. And also for staff appreciation, putting those two numbers together, you're a little over $9,000 right there. A couple of the other things that we have is we had some people, when you did sign up for your membership online, you were able to do a direct donation that way. We appreciated that. That was just an option for people. We are doing, which we'll talk about in a minute, this Kaplan testing practice. We'll get to that one. And then we did have some of the leftover with Spiritware and Spirit Nights. Linda is here and she'll talk about this in a few minutes, but this is some of the ways where, like Manhattan Pizza for instance, because we're unique in the school, that if we were to have solo pizza up in Leesburg, we're gonna have about 5 kids maybe go up there, maybe 10. But not people from South Riding are not gonna go. So we had to be able to find these restaurants that had a number of locations that would be willing to partner with us on this. So Manhattan Pizza has been gracious enough to have Leesburg, South Riding, and Ashburn on September 25th, and 20% of those sales will come back to the PTO. Again, it's free money in a way, just because we're hoping if you don't want to make dinner, there's that opportunity to do that. But we did budget according to what we knew was coming in. We don't necessarily want to ask for a direct donation because we don't need that at the moment unless we're because you don't want to fundraise just to fundraise. You want to be able to fundraise if you're going to buy something specific. With the school being as new as it is, there aren't specific things that are necessarily needed. Our goal is to bring the community together and also with the staff appreciation. So again, that's why we're asking. For those of you who are members and who are here, tell your friends. It's $25. We do know, yes, kids are only here part-time and then they're at their homeschool part-time. So we know that there are the PTOs, the majority of the schools in the high schools here are the PTOs. We know that And my oldest is just a freshman, but I understand, as Jennifer told me, that you're doling out money left and right for these kids to go to this event or to do debate or to do this booster club. Marching band's $500. So realize that $25, we appreciate it if you could do that to support us, because we don't really want to have to ask for any more. So that's and we budgeted according to that. So we didn't have to come back to the parents. Yes?
Yeah, general reminder, I know you probably get this, but bears reinforcing a lot of companies have matching funds.
Matching funds?
Yeah, employers
Yes.
have matching funds.
And that is something that we have put in our newsletter. So we've sent 2 newsletters out too on PT board, and that is important if your companies do match. Like, there are some things I do know with Verizon. Like, my husband used to work for Verizon, but he had, in order for him to get some matching money, he had to put like 40 hours in with volunteering. Well, he was a watchdog dad for one day, 6 hours wasn't going to cut it. So there wasn't that. There's Fannie Mae. I do know that we had somebody, that there is a company with that. So if you are willing to look to see, if your membership is tax deductible. And so if you are willing to do that and take that to the company you may work for and ask, would you be willing to match this for, and then they would get a tax deduction also. We do have a donation letter that does have all of our tax information on it. That is one of the things, there's a business development committee that we're trying to get going. That is one of my backgrounds also with doing the PTA. So I just haven't had time yet to go out and solicit some of the local businesses that I know may want to do that, advertise. But the big thing that a lot of these companies want in fair game is that they want to be recognized because they want to be advertised. And so there's only so many ways we can do that. We can thank them in Facebook, we can thank them on PT board, but I can't put up a banner in the school that says, thank you, Oath, whoever, for donating $1,000 to the Academy's Allowed It. So I realize our backs are up against the wall a little bit with some of the donations that that companies will be willing to give us. Do you have a question? Yes?
What about the AOS dance that I've heard about so much?
Okay, yes. Okay, so I knew this was coming. I'm going to duck right now. No, okay. So with the dance, so this is something that we have definitely talked about. And many a time, again, I have a child who's, with being a freshman, that many a time the student council are the ones who are, in the high schools, are the ones who are responsible for the dances. It's not necessarily the PTO, because kids don't want their parents, doing that. It's really the student council with that. This was one of the things, and we learned some new things this year with the dances, is that we didn't want to put out and fund things that we weren't for sure were going to exactly go, because our budget at the time when we were starting this was $2,300. That wasn't going to go very far at all, and we didn't want to get ourselves in a hole by putting out money that we would have to for DJs, and we would have to pay for sheriffs. I didn't realize we would have to do that. We have to pay for custodial fees that are here. We have to pay for food, and obviously we would realize in terms of a ticket, but we don't know with 1,500 kids here. Yes, 1,500 kids are not going to show up to the dance. We get that, because we're also competing again with the base school and the homeschool. So for this year, it is something we are not going to have. It may be revisited in years to come, but it is something we are well aware of. But now that, when we don't know how the student council that is now just being formed will come about and what things they may want to do. So, yeah, sorry, thank you. Okay, yes.
Just that brings up a secondary question. Does that mean the student council may revive it for this year?
We don't know. I mean, they are just starting, but again, but again, the dance that you're specifically talking to was AOS. This dance will now be a school-wide. Right. It won't be exclusive to AOS, because now we are a community and for the whole school. So we don't know. Miss Whistler is one of the people. I'm not sure how many are on there. I saw there was an email I think we all got the other day about how they are just starting with the student council now, and that they are then going to start to form people to be on the board, and et cetera, et cetera. So I can't answer that. Yeah.
There's huge interest in the student council.
There is? Okay. Okay.
There are like hundreds of kids asked.
Oh. Well, that's wonderful. So.
It's
Okay, I hope so. I mean, I know that they are just starting with the clubs, and you have to have you have to have 5 students to be in the club, and they have to fill out a form, and the students are the ones that have to start the club. So there, and I saw they were going to have a fair once they start. So I know the ones they've started has been student council. So hopefully that will evolve as it will. But again, with this being new and this, there will be change this year, and we'll see how the student council does that. But for us and for how the PTO is supporting the school, these are the events that we felt comfortable doing with the budget that we had.
Yeah, there's a budget constraint. When we looking at the budget, as each separate school, we look at the much smaller student body, and now we look at 1,500, and so far, we totally rely on membership, and so far we have about like 200 membership versus like 1,500. So you can see clearly that the budget constraint of that. So
Yes.
I see a section for staff appreciation.
Yes.
I'm not sure if the administration is doing anything on their side, but is there a thought that maybe recognizing the school?
Recognizing who?
Mr. Wolf.
Who's Mr. Wolf? Oh, he was the AOS. I'm sorry. I'm new. I'm done. I apologize. I don't. That would not come through us. That would be the school. I believe he retired. He was the AOS director, I believe. So that would be. I know that when LCPS staff, they do recognize them through LCPS. I don't know what Dr. Pretty or the administration would have past that. So I would contact them. So I apologize. I just being new. I don't know exactly who was who in the past. Yes.
Are we gonna talk about the staff appreciation ideas or?
Not here. So the idea with we're going to set up on PT board. As long as you have an account on PT board, you will see these things coming over, and that's why sometimes you need to look at your spam. And I know people get tons of emails. I get it, but we will try to alert that has come over to via Facebook. So people then will be able to go on and sign up for that committee, and then from there we will then group together and do that. So yes.
Is there, because last year I was with AET and we had a wonderful year. So now we have how many teachers?
It's
or-
140 staff.
Okay.
All right, that's what she has for staff. So we had at the elementary school that my youngest is still at. They had 700 students and they had 100 staff. So it's not, and that's including custodians and all of
So when
teachers.
we do teacher appreciation week or month or whatever, we're giving everybody
Yes.
an A-day, B-day,
Yes.
whatever it is.
Well, they'll all be here. So yes, so we're well aware of that. So we are doing our best not to exclude anyone. That is the whole, that especially with a PTO, or as I said, with a PTA, is that you're just not doing this for one set group. Everyone has to benefit from it in some way, shape, or form. So it's not an exclusive type of thing. So that's why we put staff on here as opposed to teacher. Yes.
I assume that, I just didn't know how it really worked that way. Like, everyone's here every day.
Yep. We're on it. Yes.
So I know last year we had a speaker series that the PTO put together for the Academies of Engineering and Technology. Is the administration going to be doing a speakers series and picking people within the community, parents?
I don't know.
Is that something that the...
I think it's a school thing.
It's a school. I don't know.
Okay.
Obviously the mine was at 6:30, so that's one. But it was. I don't know, and I don't believe Dr. Pretty is.
yeah, last year we had speaker series on budget, and we budget some, but we added up school. I think the school took
During
over
this-
that, and we didn't have to spend any, if I remember correctly.
The parent, I was kind of involved with that. The speakers were suggested by the parent group, some of the parent group. And actually, one of the parents, her husband was working in one of the organization, Genelia Farm. He came as a speaker too, and something like that. So some of the parents came here in school, or some of the people who they do the PTO association. This is for AET.
Yeah, so maybe that's just something we would talk to the administration to
Talk to the
support,
administration.
because
I
I
mean-
think there's a lot of talented people in our community, and that's a great way to bring our community together. And
Yes, rightly so. I'm big at this level with the high school with the PTO. A lot of it is to support the administration in terms of if there is a need somewhere. And so we haven't, we've been talking to Dr. Pretty throughout the summer and trying, and again, this has all been new. So this is new for them, and they were just trying to open the building. So we are just trying to kind of ride on the coattails a little bit, have our stuff that we have planned, but also be there if we can do something. But right now, I'm leaving that with the administration as to what they have planned. So, okay. Any other questions? Yes.
Just one last question.
Yes.
On the club funding.
Yes.
These are the student clubs or.
Yes, well, okay, so with the club funding, so when we had put this together, because we wanted, this is, and Pink is here actually, she's in the back, she's our Odyssey of the Mind chair, and so we didn't know when we were starting to do this budget exactly what these clubs looked like that were going to be here, because they kind of hadn't started yet and all that kind of thing. I had received an email regarding Odyssey of the Mind, and Odyssey of the Mind is obviously a program that cannot be done and worked on in the school time. In the school hours. For those of you know, the kids need to meet outside the school hours to get their skits together, to get all of that together. So with that being said, we wanted to put some money aside to help with like coaches with that, because that is more of a parent-led program, as opposed to the clubs in the school are very staff-based. And so we have talked to Dr. Pretty about with the Science Olympiad, but that, and so some of you may be familiar with that, but we're not going to go into that right now. But that is something I did talk to her about, and right now she's going to keep that as a staff-based program. So we do have the 1,000 here in case there is, we don't know exactly what that looks like in terms of what the clubs may or may not need, but we do know that we will be helping Odyssey of the Mind because it is a club that is outside of the school hours, and it's more of a parent-based as opposed to staff-based. And the clubs here at the school, to our understanding, are being financed by the school. They're served that way. I mean, there's some other funding that was coming in for it. So we were kind of going with what we had. So more money than what we have.
Do
Yes.
clubs exist already? Or?
Well, there were some emails that went out about this. And so the students have all evidently, I asked my daughter about this, and then all of a sudden things jogged her memory that they were brought to an assembly and were talked about with clubs. The emails that have gone out recently, and there is under on the LCPS / it says AOL still, but it should be ACL webpage. I believe it's under activities that is listing what constitutes the forming a club, and it has to be the students have to form the club. So if they want to have friendship bracelet club, they have to have 5 people, and then they have to have a teacher to sponsor them, I believe, and they have to submit that information, but that has nothing to do with us. That's all through the school.
Actually, my question was more about have the previous year's clubs, do they still exist?
No, not to our knowledge. I believe this is all new with the academies allowed, and so that because all the kids have lunch at the same time, so they will all, point of that is for all of them to come together. So
And they just exist for a year and then they're dissolved?
I have no idea.
That's all
Yes.
all being run by the school.
It's all being run by the school.
We have the same
Yes.
information that has been sent out to you.
So, I mean, I appreciate that. I mean, the PTO and the school are separate functions. So the PTO and the school are separate. We want to work together jointly, but we have a separate fund, the school has a separate fund, and we kind of need to keep that separation in that way. So there are definitely things that we probably won't know unless we ask, that the school is doing. So we will inform you as best as possible with these meetings and with other ways, again, with our newsletter and such, but that's kind of how we operate versus the school.
So just to answer that, the administration has said that all the previous clubs can reform. If they were an individual club like an AOS club, they would have to be open the whole school, but any of the previous clubs can exist. They just opened up this week for the formation of the clubs. So just that was.
Thank you. Yes?
So I know Spiritware is usually a big fundraiser for us. Since we're not allowed to do that, is there any chance they could give us a cut of what they make?
No. It's okay. We're okay. I mean, we're Spiritware, yes. Yes, that was a little bit of a blow with not being able to do that, but I understand. I mean, the entrepreneurship program, that's what they do. They need to be the entrepreneurs, and they think
What
that
are they
through.
gonna spend
Yeah, what are they gonna do with their money?
I'm sorry?
What are they gonna
I have no
spend
idea.
profit?
I don't know.
I mean, I do think that I totally understand why they should run it.
Right.
It would be a great experience for them, but because that was our main source of income,
Right.
I think that
But-
we should talk to Ms. Pretty about
But-
them giving us a cut.
Well, no, it's okay. I mean, the thing here is that, you know, again, we don't want to fundraise to fundraise. And we need to be for what our budget has and for what the money that we have brought in with membership, that's great and totally appreciated. And we are, I mean, to give $7,200 towards the student body this year is fabulous. We're thrilled about being able to do that. I'm not worried about what we're not able to do anymore, and we're gonna move forward with what we can do, and we will do what and if they come to us, if the administration came to us and said, will you buy us a $15,000 or $30,000 sign outside? We're like, no, we can't afford it because we don't have X income, or this is what we have, and we're not gonna ask our parents for any more, et cetera, et cetera. So, I understand what you're saying, but we also need to move forward with what we are allowed to do, and we are in a great position right now, and I really just want to keep moving forward with that. So that's, because again, there's not anything specific. This is a brand new, beautiful $85 million building. There's not one thing that we need to buy. You know, when I've been at the elementary schools, we bought a track. We bought playground equipment. We don't have any of that right now, so we're gonna focus on what we want to with building the student community and appreciating the staff and go with that. We don't need, because at the end of the day, we don't, at the end of the year, when our fiscal year is over, we only wanna have like $2,000 to carry over to start us through the next year. So we don't wanna have this big windfall and if there's nothing to use it for. So, yes.
I looked at the budget the other day, but I don't remember if this is listed on there, and it sounds like people are concerned, will we be able to raise enough money? Is there a target number of membership that you are looking for to meet your income goals?
1,300.
Oh.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's no. I mean, yes. What do we have right now? 232. 232.
Including
That's
staff,
fabulous. But when you look at that, that's 1/6 of potentially what we have. I mean, we are targeting for. So we had on here 173 members at the time when we were working on this budget a couple weeks ago. We expected an additional 77. We're almost there. So that's great. I mean, that's why we keep pushing the membership the way we do, and you're gonna see us at back to school night, and then you may never see us again. But at back to school night, we will be there explaining. People want to know, what do I get for my $25? Well, we don't have a bumper sticker for you. We don't have, you know, a flag for you that says welcome to the PTO or something. But we're gonna list, this is what your money is going towards. We are doing this for fall student or fall festival. We are going to put Pi Day, $2,500. And so really trying to explain that to parents as to what we have there. We're on target and we're doing well with it. But, you know, I'm not going to stop there and say no more memberships after 240 people or so.
Do we have a list of the teachers that are a member?
Yes.
Okay.
We're working on that. So with the teachers, we are our membership committee right here, Nikki and Shannon. They are we do have a list, and we are going to get a basket together for the teachers and anyone who, a very worthwhile basket that has gift cards and such in it. And we have it budgeted here for 50, but they are going to work on getting some donations also. And any teacher who, for $10, they just need to put their, to pay for their membership that way. And anybody who's been a member is going to go in a bucket, and we hope that will bribe teachers to become members, to be, you know.
Well,
but
the reason I was asking is because a lot of these questions seem reasonable in that they're communications between parents and teachers. You know, the parents want certain things from the teachers and vice versa. And so I feel like I know what I was looking for, and I feel like looking for it is that really, you know, gift baskets are appreciated, but I'm thinking more like the conversations, the communication between the parents and the teachers in an organization where we can ask about these type of things. For instance, there's a lot of questions about clubs the reason why there's little questions about clubs is because they need sponsors of teachers for the clubs, and the parents are very concerned about that because the kids are ready to be insistent on coming tonight because of that. That's the only reason. And so that was my question, is that the parent-teacher organization, and there's a lot of parents here, we're the teachers, and we can talk to an outside.
Well, I mean, no, here's the thing, is, the expectation, here's a teacher, but here, well, let me just, okay, all right. Let me just answer that for a second. I mean, the teachers, yes, I think, honestly, one of my daughter's teachers is a rocket scientist, literally, and she can make a far more money not being here, but she chooses to be here as a teacher to teach these kids X subject.
That's true a lot.
Yeah, so in terms of appreciating that, in terms of what the teachers or like the parents, like for instance, I did send an email to Dr. Pretty, and she did forward it to the entire staff of me explaining why if you have a membership on PT board is not the same as a membership, as a staff membership for $10, and this is what we are doing for you. We're giving you over $2,000 worth of items. I mean, these are things, I mean, we were taking notes, and these are things, but we are not part of the clubs. Again, we have to realize that this is new. This is a new school. This is a new concept. Everyone is new here, and we as the PTO organization have organized what we can with here, and we have opened the door, and I have a good relationship with Dr. Pretty of being able, with emails or talking or coming in, and I feel like, let me know what you need. We can't pull things out of teachers. I mean, there's Lori Stone, who's one of my other daughter's teachers. She emailed today earlier, said she couldn't make it to the PTO meeting, but she wanted pictures on a DSLR because she wants to put pictures from the PTO meeting in the yearbook. So she's asking for things there. MATA, we have right now on our, again, and I keep pushing this with PT board because that's a wealth of information there. We have set up a volunteer list there for people to go and help with the MATA plant sale, which is the 19th, 20th, and 21st. Are we getting a cut of it as the PTO? No, but are we here to support the staff like that and to volunteer? Yes. So it's new. MATA was not used to having this. This was one of the things. MATA was not used to having parent volunteers in this way, to my understanding. So as a PTO, we are here to support in the way that we can support. I can't go in and lay the hammer down and say this is what needs to happen.
Yeah, and I understand. I think maybe because this is a group of involved parents, and so I think in some of these cases it's not so much that we're demanding from the teachers. We'd like to know what they'd like from us.
Well, I mean, that's where back to school night comes in. I mean, if you come to back to school night, that's will be your opportunity with talking to the teachers, because again, these teachers work 8-10-hour days, and the expectation is not for them to honestly come to our meetings. I appreciate if they do, but this is where some of with a staff report comes in and back and forth, but they've worked long days, and to stay here even longer, we all know that. How many of you like to stay at your work an extra 2-3 hours if you live, in another county? So, we do our best. We've obviously, yes, I appreciate everyone that is here and the staff that has come, but my expectation is the staff will not come to our meetings and that we are here to support as we can. Yes?
I think what he's asking is, we're a community and having a conversation outside the context of a classroom between teachers and parents. How do we better collaborate as teachers and parents outside the context of a classroom? That's all you're doing.
Well, but in terms of, this is where our separation comes in a little bit with the PTO and the school. Because the school, like there are things like in other schools I've seen where the principal has a coffee talk, where she could arrange to do something like that if someone wants to arrange with that. There are different situations or events that the principal may put on with that, but I am not at liberty to insist that the teachers come to me or involve themselves and collaborate with the students. We are not, as a PTO board, that is not what our mission statement is for that. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I would do some of that and direct that towards Dr. Pretty. Yes?
Usually the principal attends this meeting, right? That's what she was doing last year.
Right. I'm not sure where she is.
Oh, that's fine. No, I'm just, at least our concerns or our questions can be addressed.
Correct, yeah. So we're just trying to fund and build our community off of our budgets. Any other, yes, Pink.
Just wondering, since I have a rising senior, right? So, has the PTO thought about setting up scholarship for MATA, AT, and AOS seniors?
That, no. I do not believe that is something that can necessarily be done, just because we're not going to separate the three. Like, yes, there are some of these events that if we needed to help with that, but we are not in terms of setting up these specific scholarship funds just for, because MATA has so many different programs. You know, they have, I don't know, I'm not sure how many programs MATA has.
But
How many?
itself has a
26?
Yeah,
So,
but the MATA itself has a scholarship that's called Monroe Technology Scholarship. I knew that because my daughter graduated from Monroe and attended the award ceremony. So they actually have a scholarship that's pure. It's just almost like Heritage High School, Chan, and you don't have the school.
the school has the ones
like
that,
MATA, they have a scholarship purely just for MATA that's across the board for anybody who is in the program. I'm not saying that it should be MATA, AD, or AOS, but it can be just for ACL. It can be maybe 3 ACL, but if you do just 3 ACL, it's very difficult to judge because each of the school has different students.
Correct.
And so their expertise is different, their experience is different, their achievement is different. And so if you have a 3-school, MATA itself, they recognize MATA, the old 26 program. AOS also have different schools. I mean, AOS was one. But AT also have 3. So, but it's 3 colleges, almost like that.
well, AT doesn't have a senior class. So,
Okay.
so that would be, and so in terms of that, we would obviously not, this needs to be as a PTO with our funds, going for everyone to have availability with it.
So
And
maybe something that you guys can consider once you have seniors for all.
potential, I'm sorry, yes, go
Can
ahead.
I jump in? Pink, I think you brought up a great idea. It's not something that we had previously considered, and if it would make sense. I think it makes sense for it to go back to the board. Let the board discuss it with Dr. Pretty. See if there's something that we can come up with for later in the year to see if there's a possibility to add something like that on if there's funds available. But truthfully, it's not something that anyone had brought up before, and I think it is a great idea that it is worth addressing. Is it okay for us to table it?
Yeah, we can table, yeah, we're not gonna be able to vote on anything right now with that.
If
Yes.
MATA already has a scholarship, and it obviously hasn't been done through a PTO, is that MATA the school? And if it is MATA the school, has she already set something up for on the school level?
I can address that. I don't know. I can talk with her. I mean, like the part I do know, like the plant sale for MATA, that money goes towards the biotech and scholarship. Yeah. So okay. So yes, with that. So I mean, that is something that I can address with her on that. Again, if that is something where that will come up with our budget, I mean, it would be in terms of a need to vote on that for. Because anything over $500 thereafter will need to be approved by the membership. So.
I share a little bit about the MATA different awards. They have because they have so many schools, 26 different programs. So sometimes different schools have so the award ceremony that I attended, they have environmental science, biotechnology, car mechanics, pharmaceutical. They have the nursing. They have the Monroe itself, of course. So they have a good long list of sponsors that's meant for different programs. So. It is not just say targeted, that other schools didn't have an opportunity for that whole 26 program. So for the Monroe is from Monroe itself. I don't know how it happened, but because like you guys said, ACL is now incorporating everybody is like a community. That Monroe maybe is going to be taken out. I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't know.
So, but to share with you is that the different schools they each have different.
I understand.
Yeah. Into it.
Right. So, I mean, it's something to discuss. It's not something that we have for our budget for now. So, I mean, appreciate you, and it's something we can address. We have executive meetings generally the week before this meeting, and so it's something that we can address as we kind of go forward. So, but thank you. Okay. Any other questions regarding our budget? I try to keep the meetings to an hour, but we're already going to be over. Anything else? Okay, we're gonna vote on this budget. All right, so Tara, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so I'm now going to make a motion to vote on the proposed budget. Is there second? Okay, so we will now take a vote by show of hands by current PTO members.
It needs to be a majority, so what do we have? Can you count for me? Just as long as we're over 16. Yes, you please. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, man. Oh, you want an
It's
actual
okay.
count?
Oh, we're majority. We're good. Okay, so with that, the 2018-19 PTO budget, ACL PTO budget now stands as it is, and we will move forward from that. Okay, thank you very much. These are a couple of housekeeping things that we only have to do once a year. Okay, thank you. Is anybody here to represent Dr. Pretty? That I know of. Okay, moving on. All right, so our event program. So what we'll do next is go through with some of our chairpersons that are here. So membership, how many, do you have individual and staff count?
Yes, we have. So I wasn't paying attention last time, but we have 202 members as of last night. So we actually had a couple more folks join today, and 30 staff members.
All right, thank you. And then you're working on the basket.
Yeah, and as far as other activities, we'll be here for the open houses, trying to get the other folks that have not signed up to join. Please encourage your friends that are in the program to join as well. So maybe we can fund some other things, the ideas that came up this evening. And in addition, we're trying to get get more staff involvement as well. And as an incentive, it would be a basket raffle to get them to sign up.
So that is a count by PT board.
Yes.
My count on the payments a little bit different.
We'll talk about that because we ran through when I met with them last week the numbers on another part, so we'll talk about that. But that's where we're at per from May is when people had signed up. It's grandfathered in people because generally the membership does go July 1 through June 30th. So, but since this was new and how people came in, people were grandfathered in from May, including myself when I signed up for membership then with voting. So, yes.
As far as this basket raffle goes, with the gift cards, how do you plan to get the gift cards? Just buy the gift cards?
No, we have a donation mindset and we'll be hitting out local
Right,
companies.
that's what, okay.
Yeah.
And local companies, and I'm actually in the PTO board for the baseball. What we do is, okay, say, it's a secret, right? Or it's not a secret.
Well, we can talk
Go to different grocery stores.
Right,
and
I
they
know.
are very
Yes, I know.
supportive.
Yeah, they're the tricks of the trade. Like Giant will only give us a gift card every 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Costco's okay. I've dealt with it. But anyway, okay. Thank you. Anything else? Membership?
No.
Okay, thank
No.
you. Okay, Spirit Night. Linda is here. She is our Spirit Night chair.
Hi guys, I'm Linda Hall, and our first Spirit Night will be the 25th. It's Tuesday, 3 locations of Manhattan, as Jory mentioned. So Leesburg, Ashburn, South Riding, and it's delivery, it's carry out, it's in person, and it doesn't have to be just parents of ACL students. You can spread the word. When you see it on social media, please share it, because anyone who comes in and mentions ACL, PTO, or just Academies of Loudon will get 20% of those sales. And there's more Spirit Nights in the works. It's definitely a work in progress. It's the first time I'm doing this. And just watch social media and come to the meetings and look at the emails, and you'll see what's unfolding for the months to come. Thank you.
Any questions with Spirit Night? Okay.
It's the
What is it?
Facebook page, it's a PTO page. Yep,
It's they're the Stacy. We have 2 people who are monitoring that, and that when there are specific questions, it's a closed group with that, and so you need to go on there, and then you'll answer specific questions because we just don't want necessarily anybody on there trying to sell things. Even though any post that would be made, you need to be approved first. But yes, it's a closed group for that. Yes.
Will be posted
I'm sorry?
These events will be posted on Facebook page.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're doing a great job. They are doing a great job with the ACL PTO page.
No, I mean, I'm aware of the page.
Yeah.
Because it's a closed group, I'm just making sure that those posts can be publicly shared.
Yeah. Well, I don't know with sharing. You have it. Okay. All right. So we'll take care of that. But yes, so you just need to say Academy's allowed and for the one coming up. Thank you. Any questions for Linda? Okay. Thank you. All right. Odyssey of the Mind. Pink.
Hi, my name is Pink. So I'm the chairperson for Odyssey of the Mind. So earlier when you guys came in, you just had on the first information night. About 15 parents showed up. Out of the 15, I must say a good 10 of them knew about the program. So they just wanted to know how is ACL going to run. So I just clarified with them. The Odyssey of the Mind teams from ACL have to be only from ACL. And this is a decision that the president have decided. So right now we have 6 people signed up online, and I recommend all the parents to go home that came tonight to register their children. And once that database is formed, I will send it back out to all these interested parents to see who is willing to be a coach. So for those who don't understand this program, this is a competition that maximum you can have 70 members. You can have as little as 1 member, but it's not going to be fun. So 7 members is the maximum, literally 7 thinking minds. And the coach is a person who guide. You cannot do anything besides the fact that asking them, are you done with honesty? So it's a student-led project, and they have from now to March 2nd to compete. And during the competition, they only have 8 minutes to present their solutions. And so that's a general idea of what the competition is about. And if you have more questions, you email me at aclodyssey@gmail.com.
And did you say when registration ends? Monday night?
I forgot to mention that,
Okay.
so we probably need to send out another blast email to them saying that registration ends.
Yeah, a reminder is going to come out on Sunday night.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. So, okay. Anything else for Pink with Odyssey of the Mind? Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Social media. Stacy is here. Yep. I don't think Arlene's here, right? Oh, Arlene's here. Oh, there you are. Arlene. Sorry. I'm sorry.
We're up to 237 members in our Facebook group. We do have a sense private group. So if you sign up, there's a set of questions. When you ask to join the group, please answer the questions because that's how we know that you legitimately belong as a member of the group. And if you have friends who are saying, hey, I tried to join and they're not letting me, remind them to answer their questions because that's usually where that holdup is. We have 237 members, which I believe is now more than our membership for the PTO, which means that we have people who were PTO last year who are still members of the group. So I need to put a reminder up telling everyone to be But primarily what we're trying to do is stick to PTO business and things that are specific to this school. So anything that people want to post is going to need to be approved by one of the admins before it goes up. So if you're not sure whether or not we're going to accept something, you can go ahead and send us a private message. We'll address it.
Yeah, no, you've been great. It's been great. It's been nice to see the uptick in those. The school does have a Twitter account, and we are able. Is Josh still here? Yeah. So we haven't done it yet, but I need to remember that we can push things to him that hopefully then are pushed out via Twitter for those of you who tweet. Okay, any questions regarding social media? Okay, thank you. Okay, Srini, Kaplan test.
So this year, like previous years, we are partnering with Kaplan Institutional Tests. And they're going to conduct 2 more popular tests, the SAT and SAT-ACT combo test. Basically, the test is proctored like a real-world test, but they do not publish the scores. Only the parent and the child, the student will get the test score, highlighting the areas of improvement. So we are conducting this test on November 10th in practice for the December and the March test. And the more information is to come, the flyer and basically the test information will be available next week.
So will that be held here
Yeah,
on a weekend or during the?
It's on November 10th it's Saturday.
Okay.
From 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Great.
in the cafeteria.
So we're just waiting on a couple of questions we're going to get answered on that.
So what grade levels is that?
I'm sorry,
Jen?
it's
What
open
grade?
for all grade
It's
levels.
open for all.
And they can take either the SAT or the ACT?
SAT or SAT and ACT combo test. Two more popular.
Okay. Are there any questions on that test or that idea? I guess a lot of the high schools around here do something similar, so it's around that same. Okay, thank you, Srini. Volunteer coordinator, is Mahima here? No, I don't think she is. Okay, so again, with our volunteer coordinator through PT board, there's under volunteer signups, and so we like to keep everything that one-stop shop is why I keep talking about with PT board. And right now, MATA is on there. We had, as of a couple hours ago, we had 5 spots open still for people to be able to volunteer either was it Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, and there were a number of slots on there, so it was nice to see people jumping on that right away to be able to help them out. The next thing that's going to go up is going to be for the committees and for the chair and the committees. I just need to go in and put descriptions for those. I haven't had a chance to do that yet, but I will most likely take care of that tomorrow, and then we'll push that out, and then we will go from there. But that's the way for those of you who want to volunteer. We know you can't do everything, but if you can do something, you know, I used to tell parents that if you can just donate a case of water from Costco, you did something, instead of those parents who just kind of run away and hide from me when they see me in Costco. But if you do something, just one thing, and everybody just kind of does that one little thing, then it will make everything all the easier. Because you said you have, you know, 20% of the people doing 80% of the work. We want to just try to get everybody involved as best as possible. So, all right. And with that, again, I said with the open positions that will be on there, and you'll see those. I know I have that on the agenda, so they're listed there. Okay, any questions with events or programs, Chair Pripal, that we missed? Okay.
I just have a quick question about
Yes.
the volunteer one. So since it's a family membership, like it's difficult then to like sign up my son or something on a month. Is there going to be separate sign up Genius or something like that? Or something
No, so I mean, you can put multiple emails on your account.
Okay.
So you can do that. Will not use Sign Up Genius. We're going to use this PT board. Like, I mean, you're talking about for him volunteering at the MATA.
Or any of us, if you want to have all 4 of us rather than.
I mean, there will be a section where you can put notes in there. We do ask that students, anyone under 18 will, and PTO members will not, those who are not PTO members and those under 18 will not handle money. So that kind of thing. But if there is a notes section, if you were signing yourself up plus other people, but they're underneath your user account, you can put multiple emails. Okay, on to elected officer reports. I will do my best to make this short and sweet. So for us, I think it's been great. I mean, for those of us on the board here who I didn't know any of them, and we all came together this summer. We met a number of times. We've done a number of conference calls. We started with $2,300. We're now up to $10,000. Where are we at? A little over $9,000 in our bank account. Yeah. So it's been great, and some of the chairs that we've had, Nikki and Shannon, have been great help. Linda coming in. So for those of the people who have just kind of started at ground zero with us, have been greatly appreciative because it's new. And so anything that's new and you don't have anything to fall back on what you kind of used to do for a group of 1,500, any of that is kind of tough. But I do appreciate how our board has come together and has, you know, approved bylaws, approved the budget. So now we can kind of monitor it as we go forward. So other than that, we are looking for someone. And I've put this out a couple times in a newsletter, if anybody is creative and wants to volunteer their time to create an ACL PTO graphic design, we would greatly appreciate that. But that takes someone who's got some graphic design background. I have approached the graphic design group here, but they are busy until October. So wanted to kind of get that started earlier, but may have to wait till then. So, and again, with PT board, there's an online directory. So how this works is, again, a PT board membership is free. Your PTO membership is not. So people get confused with that. Say, oh, I am a PTO member because I'm on the, no, because I get the emails. No, that's not why. You need to be, and my line to people is, why should I be a member? Well, if you agree with what we're doing for the school, then yes, then please become a member. If you don't, then that's fine. Then, you know, don't become a member. But that's how I try to
I'll be a
explain
member
that.
so you can vote.
I'll be a member so you can vote, you know, in some of these situations. So with PT board, but that's why it's critical with, if you want to be involved and be in the know, then to join up on PT board and watch the emails, go back through some of the threads on Facebook to look at that. So anything else for questions for me that we haven't addressed? Okay, we're gonna go next to kind of right on down the line. I do just kind of want to explain just a little bit with the our elected officers, because with Jennifer, Srini, and Lakshmi all have the chair next to them, but they are being not necessarily overseeing that group. They are being used to help us collectively. A lot of times in PTOs or PTAs, you will see a VP of programs, or you'll see a VP of fundraising. Hopefully next year we'll be at that point, but they wanted to have some representation this year of the 3 different groups because we were coming together as one school. So that's why Srini is taking on some things. Jennifer has helped out with doing with the budget stuff, and you know, is open to helping with any of these events. And then Lakshmi is going to help with some other stuff that's coming up. So that's why they have and they may not have necessarily a report, but that's what the chair means next to their name. So Jennifer.
No, it's almost 8:30. So first off, thank you for coming tonight, and we appreciate your being here. We appreciate you being a part of the Academies of Loudoun. Those of us who have been part of one of the 3 individual schools, I think we can all say it's been a wonderful experience being part of one of those schools, and now it's going to be, if you're hearing the same things that I'm hearing from my son, it has been a great first couple weeks, and the kids are excited. From what I hear, the teachers are excited. So all we have to do is get behind them and help build their community. That's what we're here for. So if I can help you in any way, please let me know. Nothing else to report. It's
Okay.
almost 8:30.
Like I said, usually these meetings won't go this long. It's just we had some of the stuff to go through. Srini.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, you're good. Excellent. Easy enough. Okay, Lakshmi.
Yeah, I would just like to say, it's very good to see that parents are involving, and there is no other purpose of having this kind of board and meetings. We just want to get involved and participate and do more and more good what we can do. If you have concern like this, what we are raising and we are talking, and this is not even in our past agenda, we can always look forward and go with that. So we can always discuss, talk to the school, because we are here to represent all of you. So please come up with your idea. We are not no person being here beside what we are doing is representing you. So please come up. We will discuss. We will talk to the school. We will have the coordination between the teachers, students, school, and us, and we'll go ahead with good things and better year. Thank you.
Tara?
Yeah, so I'll be short. So if you have any question about money, budget, you know, how much money we have in the bank now, you know, reach out to me anytime. And then I try to post report on the PT board under docs and forums. Lastly, I just want to say, so right now, we have, you know, budget this year relied largely on the membership. And we almost there, we probably 50, 60 people, like more membership to go, and just become a member and help with our budget. This year. Yes.
What do we have in our bank account? What's our?
So right now, we have as of 3 p.m. today, $9,668.53, and keep in mind that we carried forward from last year $2,805. So we still, and then we budget revenue is about 10,423. So we have, you know, like this year we should be more aggressive to reach out and get membership.
Back to school, right?
Yeah. So, and then our goal is to carry forward next year $2,000. So, yeah.
Okay. Any questions for Tara? Yes. Yes.
Will parents of that school be able to sign up here for PTO, or do you have forms, or how?
We will have forms. I mean, we will have forms available.
I just think that if you give them like $50 while you're talking.
No, I understand. It's cash or check, and a lot of people don't carry cash anymore. And so we don't have the system to do. We can have them with a computer and signing up through PT Board with their credit card, but they do have to answer some questions, so it's a little more of a process with that. And we don't have a Square system that we're using, so we're doing our best with. We will have forms if people will have cash or check. We will take it, and then we can push them through our system. It's just easier as anything if you already have it online than to run the reports for these ladies, but we will have information if that's the only way people to get them. So yeah, thank you. Yes.
Just to follow up on that, you said that there's a note going on Sunday night. It might be helpful if it's not already planned to mention some of that information so that people do come.
Oh, bring money.
Monday, and
Yeah, yeah.
Bring your checkbook.
Yeah, I can add that to the.
Great idea.
No, that's fine. Thank you. Yeah. So 'cause I've had a lot of people be like, oh, I'm interested, and then they don't. Okay. Anything else for? And then Pramila isn't here. She's usually the secretary. Anything else? I have seen 3 of you recently just sign up here to want to be on Facebook, and you didn't answer the questions, so you won't be approved. Just to let you know. Yes.
Just one comment. I made a comment about matching funds. So
Yes.
I don't need full match funds, but I can't do the process unless you're a member of one of those larger directories like GuideStar or Your Cause, one of those things. Is that something that are you aware of that?
I'm not aware of that.
Okay, all right. I'll be up there.
If you can, and then my information's online. It's on the school website, and it's also on PT Board, and then you can just get a hold of
Typically,
it.
most schools, if they're part of the larger PTA association or whatever, people are trying to get enrollment, something that you can clarify, your EIN is there.
We have our EIN. I mean, we have.
I know, but the information on that directory, you just have to
Okay.
clarify.
I mean, it's the first I've heard of it being involved with the PTA, but I'm happy to look at it. Yeah, thank you. Okay, anything else? Any new business? New business? Okay. All of our upcoming events until our next general session meeting are on the back. We also do keep the calendar on PT Board very up to date, and that is all we have. So if that's it, we're adjourned at 8:32. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.